All right, so for the last part of the videos, what we want to do is talk a little bit about some of the concepts we kind of talked about before, inclusive fit, things like that. But I want to kind of tie it together with the sociality part and make sure that we're all on the same page. So when they start first looking at sociality, they talked about group selection, and this is VC Wynne Edwards that kind of came up with this. And proposed mechanism of evolution, which natural selection acts as the level of the group instead of the level of the individual. So doing what's best for the group, not so much best for you. And he came up with this idea reading Darwin, Charles Darwin's Natural Selection, and trying to figure out why you would do things for a group. And that really leads to altruism, which is I think I've mentioned before, but I want to go into a little bit more detail here and what it is and why would you do it. So over on the right, you see a fireman who's rushed into a building and saved a little girl. So he risked his life to save a little girl that he's not related to. If he runs in and he dies, fitness is lost. If he runs in and doesn't die, but inhales smoke and becomes unhealthy, fitness is lost. Trying to figure out this behavior is this group selection. And then in 1962, when Edwards came up with the idea of altruism costs the individual, but helps to perpetuate the species. Ants who are workers but don't reproduce, they will sacrifice for the best of the group. To biologists, this made no sense. Why would you do this? And Richard Dawkins, who I've mentioned before, has the selfish gene. And the idea is that it makes more sense that you can increase your own fitness by cheating. So if everybody is helping each other out, and you decide to be the cheater and not do that, then your genes are to survive, and that's passed off. Those cheater genes are then given to your offspring. And then over time through natural fitness, everybody's a cheater, and then there's no benefit from altruism. So logically, you would just assume that this would kind of level things out and stop sociality. Lemmings, by the way, just to make sure we're on the same page, little tiny rodent type creature that is supposedly known for running off cliffs, massive suicides. It was perpetrated by a film crew that filmed it. And today when they look at it, they think the film crew was the ones that were actually driving. It's almost like stampeding them up and over. Lemmings do not do that. That is not a typical behavior, although it was taught for years. I remember as a kid being taught that. But what they do is they will migrate away when food is scarce. So you'll see a group take off. And sometimes that migration can be extremely dangerous. So it looks like they're, hey, there's not enough food here. I'll leave the food for you. But there may be some internal struggle that they think, hey, I've got to, I'm risk prone, and there's a better chance over on the other side of the hill. So, all right, theories to explain altruism. W.D. Hamilton, the inclusive fitness. We've done this before, where Hamilton's rule there is benefits outweigh the costs. And it's related to who you're related to. So again, the idea is that it might not be just my direct fitness, but it might be my relative's direct fitness. And so we see this in the pied kingfisher males. There's 3 different strategies for the males. You can help your parents, and this is what we typically see is a first-year male or second-year male will come in and help their parents, and the idea is that they are related to that group. They will also help an unrelated pair, and this also does happen, and trying to figure out why. And maybe there is some advantage of doing that, is maybe it's nest sites, maybe saving the species. I'm gonna raise the next female for my partner. And then there's you can do nothing, is that you're being pushed out. So screw it. I'm just not going to breed this year. And we find that odds are most are help my parents for my brothers and sisters. Then the next ratio would be help somebody I don't know. Um, and then the third one would be, I just not going to do anything. And that obviously your fitness on that is going to be fairly low. So the idea then is, what do you do? And what we do see is most help their parents. Okay, let's talk and make sure we have these definitions correctly. So again, I think I've given them over the semester, but I wanted to find a place to put them. So direct fitness is, again, your offspring. Indirect fitness is offspring of people that are related to you. And then inclusive fitness really kind of adds yours plus the indirect fitness you get. So is altruism selfish? Yes, you are increasing your own genetic fitness. So the idea here is that it leads to kin selection. And we've talked about that. And then taking that to the extreme would be the eusocial mammal, the naked mole rat. So we have a little video of these guys, kind of funny on the way they talk about them. But Alexander in the 70s, they asked about eusocial mammal. We see it in, again, bees and wasps, termites, but then they didn't know about mammals doing this. So Alexander actually predicted what a eusocial mammal would look like, and he was dead on. They would be underground, they would be rodent, they would be fairly safe. Territory would be easy to expand, large food sources that were scattered, defendable in hard ground, and probably in Africa. And that's where we get the naked mole rat. And so again, we have a caste system. Only one female reproduces and actually keeps up the stress hormone in the population to keep the other females from breeding. Dispersal is hard. They're not going to go very far. And they lack pain receptors, resist cancers, don't thermoregulate, and live a long life. So, and doing the genetics, they're not inbred. That's what they expected, but they're not. So, a lot of interesting characteristics. Lots of people want to look at them. They are known, though, that actually they used to have them out at the Living Desert Museum in Palm Desert. And it was kind of cool to see them. And then they didn't. And I finally asked about it. And it turned out that over lots of generations, they started attacking each other and killing each other. And the whole system fell apart and the animals died. And they're not quite sure why, but it probably had something to do with the way they were being kept. And they never quite figured out how to fix it. So with that, we're going to stop the share and stop this week's recordings. And so next week, like I said earlier, we will be now trying to put all of the stuff we learned today and this semester into looking at what humans do and trying to associate it there. So I will stop the recording.